The night the power went out, nobody in Cedar Ridge thought it would matter much. It was late August in a small Ohio town where the air hung thick and heavy, and most people were already inside, hiding from the humidity. The Johnson family had just finished dinner, grilled chicken, corn on the cob, and sweet tea sweating in tall glasses. The TV hummed in the background, tuned to a baseball game no one was really watching. Then everything went black. The refrigerator stopped its low buzz. The ceiling fan slowed, groaned, and quit. The TV screen blinked off mid-sentence. For a second, there was nothing but silence. Probably just a blown transformer, Mark Johnson said automatically, standing up from the couch. He had that calm dad voice he used whenever something unexpected happened. It'll be back in a few minutes, but it didn't come back. Outside, the entire street was dark. No porch lights, no street lights, no glowing windows. Just the faint silver of moonlight stretching across the quiet neighborhood. Their daughter Emma, 16 and permanently attached to her phone, lifted it up. "No signal," she said. "And it's at 10%. Her little brother Caleb, who was 10 and always looking for adventure, grinned. "This is kinda cool." Their mom, Lisa, lit a few candles she kept in the kitchen drawer for emergencies. The small flames flickered against the walls, turning the familiar house into something softer, almost older. They waited. After 20 minutes, the air inside started to feel heavy. Without the fan or AC, the house was warming fast. Mark stepped onto the front porch. A few neighbors were already outside. Mrs. Alvarez from across the street was fanning herself with a magazine. Old Mr. Henson had dragged a lawn chair into his driveway. Someone down the block laughed. "It's the whole grid," Mrs. Alvarez called. "My sister in Columbus says they're out too." That got everyone's attention. Mark leaned against the porch railing, looking up. Without the streetlights, the sky looked different, deeper, brighter. Stars he hadn't seen in years scattered across the darkness. "Hey kids," he called, "come out here." Emma came reluctantly, Caleb bounding past her. Lisa joined them with a candle in a jar. "Look up," Mark said. At first, Emma barely glanced, then she actually focused. "Whoa," Caleb whispered. The Milky Way stretched faintly overhead, a dusty ribbon across the sky. Constellations that Mark half remembered from childhood camping trips blinked into view. When was the last time they'd all stood still like this? Inside, there were always screens, notifications, background noise. Even during dinner, someone's phone would buzz, but now there was nothing demanding their attention, just the night. More neighbors drifted outside. Someone brought out a battery-powered radio, though it only caught static. Teenagers who usually hid in their rooms wandered into the street. A couple down the block started up a small grill, offering hot dogs before they spoiled. "This feels like the 90s, one guy joked. As the evening wore on, conversations started that hadn't happened in years. Mark learned that Mrs. Alvarez's grandson had gotten into college. Lisa found out the new family on the corner had just moved from Arizona. Caleb and two other kids started a game of flashlight tag, using the dim beams from nearly dead phones. Emma sat on the curb with a girl from 3 houses down she'd never really spoken to before. They actually talked about school, about music, about how weird it felt to be cut off from everything online. "It's kinda peaceful," the girl admitted. "Yeah," Emma said. "It's like the world got quieter." Around 10 p.m., the air finally cooled. Crickets took over the soundtrack of the night. Someone started telling stories, real ones, not the polished kind you post for likes. Stories about when the town flooded in '97, about a blizzard that shut everything down for a week, about how Mr. Henson had proposed to his wife under this same sky 50 years ago. Caleb curled up next to Lisa on a blanket they'd brought out. "Can we sleep out here?" he asked. "Maybe for a little while," she smiled. Mark lay back on the grass, hands behind his head. He couldn't remember the last time he'd done that, probably when he was Caleb's age. Back when boredom led to imagination instead of scrolling, he realized something uncomfortable. They hadn't planned to spend time together tonight. They'd planned to sit in the same room, doing separate things. The power outage had forced them outside, forced them into the same space, forced them to notice each other. Around midnight, a cheer erupted from somewhere down the street. The porch lights flickered on. One by one, houses glowed back to life. The refrigerator hum returned. Air conditioners kicked in. Wi-Fi routers blinked and reconnected. Emma's phone vibrated wildly in her hand. Notifications flooded in. Messages, updates, missed snaps. She stared at the screen for a second, then she silenced it. "Coming in?" Mark asked. "In a minute," she said. Neighbors lingered longer than expected. No one rushed inside right away. It felt strange to end the night so abruptly, like waking up from a good dream. Eventually, though, doors closed. Lawns emptied. The streetlights buzzed back to their artificial glow. Inside, the house felt different. Caleb fell asleep almost instantly, worn out from running around. Lisa turned off most of the lights, leaving just one lamp on in the living room. Emma surprised them by setting her phone down on the kitchen counter. "Hey," she said a little awkwardly, "can we do that again sometime? Like, just sit outside?" Mark smiled. "We don't need a blackout for that." The next evening, the power stayed on. But after dinner, when everyone instinctively reached for their devices, there was a pause. "Porch," Lisa suggested. They went, not the whole neighborhood this time, just their family. They brought cold drinks and folding chairs. The sky wasn't as brilliant with the streetlights back, but a few stubborn stars still shone through. It wasn't dramatic. There was no big speech, no life-altering revelation, just conversation. Emma talked about a history project she was nervous about. Caleb described, in great detail, the fort he wanted to build in the backyard. Lisa shared an idea for a weekend road trip. Mark listened more than he usually did. The world hadn't changed overnight. Their jobs were still demanding. School would still be stressful. Phones would still buzz. But something small had shifted. They had been reminded that connection didn't require Wi-Fi. That entertainment didn't have to be streamed. That sometimes the most meaningful moments happen when everything else goes dark. Weeks later, when another thunderstorm rolled through Cedar Ridge and the lights flickered uncertainly, Caleb ran to the window. "Maybe it'll go out again," he said hopefully. Mark laughed. Maybe. The power didn't fail that night. But after the rain stopped, the Johnson family stepped outside anyway. And this time, they didn't need the darkness.